Before we get into this video, I just want to address a few things. Firstly, any images, audio and/or footage used in this video are not mine. All content goes to its respective owners. Secondly, I'm using a text-to-speech reader because I don't have a mic I can use. Now, before I get to the last thing, here's a quick heads up. This is not a rant video, it is a discussion video, so any complaints in the comments will be removed. So if you don't want to watch a discussion video, that's your choice, but you don't have to complain about it in the comments section. And lastly, if you haven't watched seasons 1 through 4 of Avengers Assemble, read the Marvel comics, or watched the Avengers Infinity War movie, there will be spoilers. So if you don't like spoilers, and want to see what happens yourself, click away. So, with that said, let's continue. So, if you've clicked this video, you probably already know what I'm referring to. Avengers Assemble, Season 4 Episode 25, All Things Must End. So if you've heard of this show, chances are, you've heard about this episode, and it being the finale of Season 4. It starts off with a recap of the previous episode. In that episode, the Beyonder attacked Doctor Strange, rendering him weak. Too weak to finish completing their only hope of stopping the Beyonder, Doctor Strange gave Loki the Eye of Agamotto, entrusting him to finish the job himself. Once the device was finished, having helped the Avengers save Earth, Asgard, and countless other worlds and dimensions, they congratulated Loki on his noble feat. Upon returning home, Before returning home, Doctor Strange asked Loki to return the eye to him. Loki, having been given the eye, refused, leaving Doctor Strange and the rest of the Avengers to try and stop him from destroying the universe with it. Loki then released the All-Dark and sent it to devour the Tree of Life. While attempts to remove the All-Dark proved pointless, Doctor Strange persuaded Thor to try and convince his brother of the truth. Loki, at first assuming it was a trick, eventually agreed to use the Eye of Agamotto to take a look into the future. Shocked, and in denial, Loki threw the eye, exclaiming that it doesn't tell the future, but, in fact, lies. Having been removed from Loki's possession and tossed away, Doctor Strange caught it, and, with the help of Thor and Jane Foster, managed to succeed in removing the All-Dark from the tree. Loki, having been defeated for like the 1000th time, tried to regain control over the All-Dark, grabbing the charred remains that had been falling from the tree, but to no avail, and as the All-Dark began to piece itself back together, it started engulfing Loki. Helpless and unable to remove the All-Dark from his hands, he looked up at his brother, pleading for help. Sadly, all Thor could do was watch with a heavy heart as his brother, Loki, was engulfed in the All-Dark. So you may be wondering, what was the point in that? Why did you just summarize the Season 4 finale? Well, as you can see at the end of episode 25, the All-Dark engulfed Loki. But, for those of you that have read the comics, you would know Loki has been killed once before, and while that may not be considered canon in the Avengers Assemble universe, it does come into play regarding my question. So, according to Wikipedia, Loki was present at the cabal when Norman Osborn denied to bring Namor to Doctor Doom. When the Doombot posing as Doctor Doom unleashed insect-like robots, Loki advised the Hood to take flight. Following Osborn's talk with the President, Loki advised to recreate an incident similar to the Stamford incident that would bring about the invasion upon Asgard. He then revealed a plot to Osborn that would take advantage of Volstag's presence in Chicago. Since Volstagg had gone for adventures like Thor, the UFOs could attack him and destroy a packed soldier field during an American football game, killing thousands while he and Osborn watch in astral form. Loki then warned Balder about Osborn's impending attack on Asgard and claimed he tried to convince Osborn not to attack. He killed an Asgardian who prophesied the attack and sent Heimdall's chamber beneath Asgard so he couldn't warn the Asgardians in time. Loki, when Osborn called out to him for their aid, sent the Hood and his syndicate as reinforcements to help Osborn's forces against the Avengers. Loki later appeared to Balder, telling him that he would have simply pardoned Thor instead of banishing him if he had not wanted the throne of Asgard for himself. Balder later banished Loki from Asgard. Sometime after he magically disguised himself as Osborn's Green Goblin persona to lay siege to Asgard, Loki encountered the Disir, the Valkyries of Bor. After he lured them using several wandering gods' souls he imprisoned as bait, revealing that he desired to gain their service as his slaves. The 13 Disir unite and assault him as one, but Loki managed to defeat them using extraordinary swordsmanship skills, thus forcing them to submit to him and declare him the victor. Loki meets with Hela and asks her what she will give in exchange for a new hell, to which she answers, anything. He meets with Mephisto, demonstrating the power of the Disir and agreeing to lend him the Disir for 101 days in exchange for the Demon Lord granting a portion of his netherworld to Hela for 1001 years, as her new hell, which Mephisto agrees to. In exchange for this, Hela erased Loki from the books of Hell, thus he was no longer tied to Hell or Asgard, gaining absolute freedom. Mephisto asked Loki why he had resorted to such schemes, to which Loki replied, "It was more fun this way." When the combined forces of the new Avengers, a young Avengers and the Secret Warriors defeated the Dark Avengers, Thor demanded to know where Loki was. Norman Osborn could only tell him that he was dead, just like the rest of them as the true form of the Void appeared. As the creature tore apart the three teams, Loki began to repent, realizing that what had happened to Asgard was not what he wanted. He begged his father, Odin, to return to him the Norn stones, which were taken away from the Hood and given to the trickster. He used their power to empower the three teams and give the powers of the Hood's gang to them and fight back against the Void. However, the Void sensed Loki's hand in this and attacked him, the stones not affecting him directly. As Loki was torn apart by the Void's tendrils in front of a shocked Thor, his last words were to apologize to his brother. Thor resolved to avenge his fallen brother and destroyed the Void and the Sentry with a lightning strike. He took the Sentry's remains into outer space, and released them into the sun. Sometime later, Thor, missing his brother, searched for Loki, who had returned to life in the form of a young boy, as his schemes had his name removed from the Book of Hell, allowing him to permanently cheat death. Now located in Paris, France, Loki was a street hustler going by the name of Sarua, the French word for lock, who feigned simple card tricks in front of an audience, while an accomplice pickpocketed them. Thor, in civilian disguise, gave chase, resulting in the restoration of Loki's memory, but not of his past life, with the exception of a guilty conscience for things he cannot remember. With nothing to lose, Loki followed Thor, who restored part of his identity to him, though he remains in the form of a child, and asked when Thor got so old, to which Thor smiled. Thor took Loki to the remains of Asgard where plans were made to help the refugees of the World Tree. With the resurrection of Odin, Loki was frightened away and fled with Thor, who lambasted Odin for scaring him away. Running into Iron Man, Loki was saved by Thor, who defended his own reasons for bringing the trickster back. So, my question is this. Although Loki was consumed by the All-Dark, was he essentially wiped from existence, or was he sent to Valhalla, in which case, he isn't entirely dead, meaning, he could possibly come back at some point. In which case, would he be essentially reformed? Whether by realizing his mistake, or from being horrified, after being consumed by the All-Dark. And anyway, from what I've seen from the aftermath of people watching the Avengers, Infinity War, you can all agree, Loki is best villain, tying with Impossible Man, for me anyway. Well, that was my discussion. While doing research for this project, some parts of this made less sense. But I decided to make this video regardless, so I hope you enjoyed this video discussing Loki's death in Avengers Assemble. If you did, like, share, subscribe, and tell me what you thought in the comments below. But for now, I'll see you all later, goodbye.